This is the Canley Files. Real courtrooms, real people, real cases. Every episode, we bring you inside Canadian courtrooms, where lives change in a moment and justice is decided. No actors, no fiction, just the truth, told in full. These are real cases, drawn straight from the official court records. Let's begin. Tuesday, September 20th, 2016. Around 2:15 p.m., it was an ordinary afternoon inside the bustling Eaton Centre, a shopping mall in downtown Toronto. The victim, a man known on the streets as a local crack dealer, stood on the escalator heading from the main floor to the lower level. Unbeknownst to him, danger was seconds away. A second man, whose name the court never confirmed, spotted the victim and quickly alerted Shane McLean. "He's up ahead," the stranger said, setting off a chase. The pursuit begins. The victim realized what was happening and took off running. Both McLean and the other man chased him down through the mall. At one point, they grabbed a yellow, slippery when wet caution sign and threw it at the victim, hitting him and making him fall. The victim tried to get up, defend himself, fight back, but he was outnumbered. The two men began hitting him repeatedly with the caution sign. McLean then pushed the victim down and got on top of him, gripping something in his hand. Witnesses said it looked like a weapon. A bystander steps in. A mall staff member trying to stop the attack ran over to help. The unidentified man punched her and threw her aside. Then he ran out of the mall, fleeing on a bicycle. Shane McLean didn't run. No, the stabbing. Still on top of the victim, McLean pulled out a 6-inch serrated steak knife and stabbed him multiple times. A mall security guard saw what was happening and jumped in to help. McLean made an aggressive gesture toward the guard, then ran up the escalator, ripping off his shirt to change his appearance. He hoped to blend in. Someone in the crowd had shouted, "He's wearing a blue shirt." McLean thought removing it might throw the police off. He was wrong. The arrest. About 10 minutes later, outside the Eaton Centre, police officers arrested Shane McLean. The steak knife was still in his front pocket. The victim's condition. Inside the mall, the victim tried to stand but collapsed. Paramedics rushed him to hospital, where he underwent emergency surgery. Doctors had to make a long incision through his stomach and perform a laparotomy to fix serious internal injuries to his small bowel. Staples and stitches closed the wound. The victim survived, but the damage was nearly fatal. Why did he do it? Earlier that same day, less than an hour before the stabbing, McLean had been in a city park at Church Street and Queen Street, hanging out with a known crack dealer. That man offered McLean 1 gram of crack, worth $100, to stab the victim. "He ripped me off last night for $100, the dealer claimed. The victim was also known to sell crack. McLean said he didn't want to stab him, but he was addicted. In his words, he'd been smoking crack every day and every night since getting out of jail a few weeks earlier. He agreed to the job. The man told him exactly where to stab, in the neck and the leg. McLean found the victim in the park, asked for a cigarette, then pulled the knife. The victim managed to block the first attack and run. That's when the chase to the Eaton Centre began. As they ran, the other man reportedly said, "Forget it, I'll do it myself," and tried to take the knife from McLean. But McLean kept it and followed through. In his own words, he stabbed the victim 5 times. Once in the stomach, 4 times in the back. He claimed he was high on crack at the time. He didn't know what happened to the victim afterward, just that he survived and is now in jail on unrelated charges. The courtroom, June 17, 2021. This wasn't just a sentencing hearing. It was a fight between 2 legal teams over Shane McLean's future. At the front of the courtroom sat Justice B.P. O'Mara, the sentencing judge, Lisa Feinberg for the Crown, Brian Coleman, McLean's defense lawyer. The courtroom was quiet. McLean had already pled guilty to aggravated assault, assault with a weapon, breach of probation. Now the question was this: should he be declared a dangerous offender and locked away for life? Or was there hope, even a small chance, that he could be safely released someday? The Crown's position. Crown lawyer Lisa Feinberg wanted McLean declared a dangerous offender. That would mean indefinite prison time, possibly for life. No automatic release dates. Parole review only after 7 years and every 2 years after that. The Crown had a strong case. A violent, decades-long criminal record. 2 probation breaches at the time of the stabbing. A victim almost stabbed to death in public. Evidence that McClain would reoffend, especially when using drugs. The defense's argument. McClain's lawyer, Brian Coleman, disagreed. He argued, McClain should be labeled a long-term offender, not a dangerous one. He needed structured rehab, not life behind bars. He had a traumatic past, untreated disorders, and wasn't beyond saving. They proposed a fixed sentence of 10 years or less, followed by 5-7 years of community supervision, psychiatric evidence. Dr. Alina Iosif, a forensic psychiatrist, evaluated McClain multiple times. Her findings: diagnosed him with antisocial personality disorder and polysubstance use disorder. Said he was at high risk to reoffend violently, especially if using drugs, but also said he wasn't hopeless. With strict supervision and long-term treatment, his risk could be managed. She recommended a federal sentence of at least 2 years so he could access high-intensity treatment, ICPM program. Judge O'Mara speaks. After hearing everyone, Crown, defense, expert witnesses, Justice O'Mara gave his ruling. He did not label McClain a dangerous offender. But he did say this: the paramount concern on this application is the protection of the public. He decided McClain could be controlled, but only if he got long, intense treatment. He was heavily supervised for years. The final sentence of Justice O'Mara sentenced Shane McClain as a long-term offender. Here's what he gave him. Prison time: 13 years for aggravated assault, 9 years for assault with a weapon, served at the same time, 1 year for breaching probation, added on top, total 14 years. But since McClain had already spent 7 years in jail awaiting trial, he was credited that time. That means 7 more years to serve, but parole possible in just over 2 years. After prison, a 10-year long-term supervision order, LTSO. This includes curfews, drug testing, housing restrictions, and mental health programs. If he breaks even one rule, the Crown could try again to have him declared a dangerous offender. Other orders: lifetime weapons ban, DNA sample for the national database, no contact with the victim, Tyrell Okram. The judge's closing thoughts: there are no guarantees, but there are significant guardrails. Justice O'Mara knew McClain's history, but he also saw no violent behavior in 5 years of pretrial custody, a rare chance for structured help in prison, family members still willing to help, including his older brother and uncle. So instead of locking him away forever, the judge chose hope with conditions. Prison now. Supervision later. No second chances if he slips again. Final result: Shane McClain. 14 years in prison, 7 years already served, 10 years of strict supervision after release. One last chance to turn his life around. But if he fails, he's gone for good.